Mm. Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, nice, that's good.
And you apparently can hear me too, because you just replied to me.
Sorry?
Oh, yes. I say that you can hear me too, because you just replied.
Yeah, I can hear you too.
Oh, look how many people. How are you guys? I'm in San Francisco right now. Wonderful place to be in this moment, considering our United States are facing the virus. Wait, let me go somewhere in which there is no virus issue. If I remember how to do it. Ah, there you go. Yeah. Now I'm virus free. Unless it can run in the universe. So guys, sorry in advance because there might be some little beast who crashes the party. I already heard some daddy calling. I'm hidden, but I cannot hide better than I am right now because I can't close the door. The door is too low, so there is a carpet and they cannot. So if they find me, I'm screwed. They'll participate too. So sorry. How are you guys? How's it going?
Good.
Good.
Still, do you live in Innsbruck or do you live outside Innsbruck? So you have the possibility to like have walks in the woods or this stuff.
I stay in Innsbruck for the time. But we don't have a balcony or something, so we need to go to the park to get outside.
But now, anyways, it's getting a bit better, it seems. So,
Yeah.
however, our classes, they told us from the rectorate that there won't be any face-to-face class until September, I think.
Mhm.
So, in our case, there's nothing that we can do. I think that they are trying to. I have a tennis class or Rückschlagspiele class starting tomorrow, and apparently they will try to get some practice in September, but all the rest of the course will be online, so the practical courses will be online anyways. So I wanted to go outside to show you some exercise with the kids, but outside now is not possible because there is the Mieterin. Is it Mieterin in German? Who's cutting the grass and this stuff. Usually she comes in the morning, but she had this brilliant idea to come today midday. So I'd rather be here next time.
Armando, there are some people waiting to come into the room.
Oh yeah, thank you. I don't know why. Probably I have to work on the settings because I don't want to be doing all the time this.
You need to accept them. You need to accept everybody.
I accepted everybody that. Oh no, there is Johanna. There must be some option that I don't know where. Oh god, I hate online classes. Okay, so do you have sports outfit to do some workout? How did the videos go? Oh, I saw the first videos. They were pretty cool. Thank you. They were very nice. Good job. I haven't seen yet the second video. But I'm looking forward to it. Just a bit of fun. We have games, right? So we have to play. It's one of the main issues here is that people get to do physical activity outside. You know, you go outside, you walk, especially in Tyrol. You go a lot of people, like I think that 70% of people living here do their physical activity outdoors. go hiking or Nordic walk and this stuff. So when you get to be home, forced to be home, is more complicated, and some people get more sedentary. But there is a lot of stuff that you can do actually inside the house. Well, if you have a garden like me, it's easier, right? But even inside the house, there are things. I saw some videos of that was pretty cool. Inside the house games. Anyways, so do you live alone? Do you live with someone? Like, general question. Do you have someone with you so to have some company? Well, now it's better, so I guess you can see people from the outside. But if you are alone, it's tougher. Oh, depends. If you live with two beasties like my kids, maybe alone is better. In some cases. Okay. So guys, anyways, just to go, I don't want to keep you too long on this. We'll keep working like the more or less the way we, no more videos except for the video of the juggling. By the way, someone noticed that I didn't have anything for the uploading the juggling video. So after the person told me, I put there is a folder now in Ola that you can find for the juggling. So you upload just your video right there. If the video is too big because you've been juggling for like half an hour in a row and you want to post it because you want to boast or to show off, you just put a link to YouTube or whatever you want to. It's very easy to just upload a video in YouTube or any other means, so I can see it anyway. So that's one thing. The other thing are just to summarize what we need to do. So that obviously we can't do any more the practices in the alle 7. But yeah, Daniel, you know that I like alle 7. I know, and I like how it sounds. So I think that we can still work in teams for creating a video on the activities that you're supposed to do. Someone also again told me that there was some, like, not all of you absolutely know each other, so you might not know how to contact your teammates, etc. So as you could see, I set up a Remind. I used Remind a lot in the United States. It's pretty cool, except for some students that wrote me questions at 2 a.m. and that was less fun. But in general, it's pretty cool because you can communicate with each other and you can communicate also with me way faster than emails. So you don't have to do it. Some of you signed up, others didn't. You don't have to, but if you use Remind, apart of the fact that you won't share any information, sorry, any information with anybody, like your number, your nothing private you will share with anybody, but Maria. So this is how I find inspiration for my games in the Bewegungsspiele. I don't know if you could see that, but they are wrestling right now. So if you use it, good. If you don't use it, it's okay. Just that would be a really fast way to communicate with me and with the others. But for those who don't have Remind, I also updated the just jumped on my computer, sorry. Updated the calendar with the teams, with the names and last names. So usually you can contact another student with, you put in their name, dot, last name, at, and then the official email from UBK. So you shouldn't have issues. Did you already contact your teammates? Are you in contact with them? It's not that something that you have to do for now, but it's by the end of the semester, but you should start at least being in contact with them. So any issue with that? It's a question. You can reply. I will mute my micro so there is no kids shouting meanwhile.
To be honest, I did not understand anything. So, because there's so much yelling in the background. I'm sorry.
Oh well, at least I thought it was because I spoke very badly English, but at least it's just for the background. Anna, wait, sorry, give me a second. Sorry guys, let's see. I repeat very quickly. So there are two ways in which you can communicate with your teammates. One is remind. If you have it, you can send message to the others who also have remind. So if you need to create your video of activities for me in Teams, but you cannot meet your teammates, you can use remind, send them a message. Are you with me so far? Or still too much noise? Yes, no. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. The other way is obviously sending them email through the official email of the UVK. Maren, can you hear me? No?
No.
No, there is nobody here. It's just me.
Yeah, it's okay now.
Okay, sorry guys.
Yeah.
They were wrestling right next to me. This is the bad thing of not having a room for this stuff. But so the other way, the first way is send a message through Remind. The second way is you send them an email, unless you have their number. I don't know. But someone noticed that someone told me that they could not contact their teammates for the practical activity. So two ways. Go to the calendar in useful files, open it. There are all the names and last names of all students. You check your team, you check the name of your teammates, and then you send them an email with the official email of the UBK. And the other way is if you have Remind and your teammates have Remind, you just send them a message through that. It's pretty easy. That's why I set it up. Not many of you did create the Remind, so I don't know many can really use it, but you are always in time to do it if you want to. But if you don't have any problem in contact them, you don't have to. The extra good thing of Remind is that if you want to talk to me quickly, you can always send me an email, but Remind is pretty easy because usually people have always their phone in their hands, including myself. And if you send me a Remind, it pops up in my phone like a message, like a regular message. So it's usually faster than email. So you have a doubt, you have a question that you want to ask me. If you use Remind, it's pretty faster compared to email. You with me so far?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So the juggling, there is the folder. The team practice by the end of the semester. So by the day of the last class that we have officially, even if we don't have it, but in the calendar officially, you have to upload a team video with the practice that you were assigned to. The video, I will put a list of things that should appear in the video, so you have some guidelines, but it's pretty much what you would have done in the class, shortened. Obviously, I don't want a video of half an hour, but maybe a 10 minutes video or so with quick explanation of activities, why you do it, why you do those activities, and if you can also show it a little in the extent that you can, right? Because their activities are supposed to be for groups of people, and if you're alone, only 2-3 persons in your house, I don't know how much involvement you can get from there. The important is that the activities are understandable and you explain them in there. Clear so far?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, questions about this? And the last thing is the articles. Also, the articles are due by the end of the semester. So by the end of the semester, there are those 2 articles that I uploaded. They are in useful files, article 1 and article 2. And then you open them, you read them, and in OLAT, there is a specific folder for the articles. And in that, there is also explained what to do for with the article. So your analysis, what should your analysis highlight from each of the articles? I don't know if you checked it, but if you didn't, you have time to do that because it's by the end of the semester. But check it, and then if you have any doubt, you can ask me. Unless you have any doubt right now. Saying here, messages, no issue. What was the question? It was too long ago. No, I'm reading the chat. What was the question? 5 minutes ago. Sorry, guys. So any doubt on the activities?
No.
No.
Okay. Anyways, if any doubts come later, you can always write me. So I want to have some meeting with you this way, just because so we can discuss a bit on the activities that we were supposed to do. Obviously, we are limited because it was way more fun if we did it in the class. But at least to have a general idea of what we would discuss in each topic. So the teams also know what we are talking about, depending on what kind of topic you have to develop. So today I have general information on, we saw in the class, the only thing that we could see in the class was the healthy adults activities, right? So the following activities that we were supposed to talk about were the healthy elderly, adults with diseases, and elderly with diseases. I have a couple of examples here with me of activities that we do. So let's have a shortened version of games in this type of populations. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody listen, everybody hears well, except for even if in background there are still the crying and shouting of the kids. They chose also them a good day for being a bit mischievous today. So let me share you the first exercise for adults. Okay, now exercise for healthy elderly. I will try to share my screen. Where is it? Here. Share screen, exercise for healthy elderly. Can you see that?
Yes.
Yes.
It's just to have a reference, right? I'm not I will send you the file in OLAT too, so you can read it easily. But this is all the activities that I was expecting to do with you in the classroom regarding the groups that I talked about. This is specifically our activities for healthy elderly. So the point in here in general is that for healthy elderly, the things that we have to take into account are, well, they are healthy, so it means that they can easily be active, but all our games, everything that we do with them should be focused on maintaining their functionality. The main issue of elderly is this, with diseases or without diseases, since our body gets worse and worse with aging, except for mine improves. I'm just kidding. Yesterday I had a hike of 4 kilometers and I almost died. But before, when I was 20, like you, I would do it running in 20 minutes. So regardless of how good or how healthy you are aging, your body is responding worse and worse to stimulus. So for elderly that are healthy, that don't have any apparent or clear issue, or let's say diagnosed issue, you want to work with them to maintain their functionality. Functionality means many things. For instance, one of the things that are mostly reduced is the joints. The joints get stiffer and stiffer, so they have more difficulties in moving their hands, grabbing objects, or doing this movement with raising their arms, so using the shoulder joint, etc. They become more complicated. Also, many times there is not arthritis as a disease, but anyways, reduced bone mass, which means that it's more difficult also to do many other things such as walking or sitting and standing up, etc. So all the games that we think about are towards all this stuff that helps the elderly keep their functionality. Another thing that we work on is the functionality of their senses. So for instance, if you can see the game one is visual memory. So to maintain certain activities in terms of senses, so vision, etc., but also memory. Memory, so brain activity is one of the most complicated, one of those that go down very quickly. So you work out activities like my example is a game on maintaining or using your visual memory. So what do we do in this game? We split in teams. Each team is composed by several people who dress in a certain way, have certain details or watch, shoes, etc. For a certain period, you have to observe, like each team observe the other team, trying to memorize how they are dressed up, how they are, how they look like the way they have the hair, everything that they can observe. So for a certain time is a time of observation. And then after that, I say, okay, now let's hide. Each team goes hiding somewhere else. They change whatever they want between each other. So for instance, I give my watch to someone else on the team, another change the way they have the hair, another exchange socks, etc. And then when they come back, each team has to discover as many changes as they can. Understandable?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a pretty easy game on visual memory. Why, you may think, why do we do that if there is nothing physical? Well, actually, because there is not much effort in it. You don't have to run, you don't have to jump, etc. But visual, like senses development and senses maintenance, senses meaning vision, hearing, etc., is part of our job. Like is still physical activity. So don't think that physical activity or exercise only refers to running, jumping, or doing some exercise to strengthen your muscle. When you work on vision, when you work on senses, etc., you are still in our field. So this is a very simple activity that you can do and maintain the visual memory. Another very common thing that is fun for elderly that are healthy is the typical tag games. Because walking is very important for elderly. Many cannot run anymore, but they can still walk. And walking, like tendentially, many elderly tend to stay home. Not in Tyrol probably, because here there is a different environment, but in general, there is a tendency to stay home because you get less walking ability, you have some issue, etc., because of aging. So walking is very important and helps elderly maintaining their also social environment, because if they can walk easily, they can also walk to visit friends, etc., or family, and maintaining their also social health. So the second game is called the Pac-Man, and it's a pretty easy game of tagging, but at a pace that is for elderly. The Pac-Man is basically, have you ever played Pac-Man? Or you are too young probably, but it was a game of my age. But I think it's still, in some cases, there are still people, you can still find it. So you know, are you familiar with Pac-Man, the game?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you know that Pac-Man is walking around these paths and trying to eat those balls, and then is chased by ghosts, etc. This is pretty much just like that. If we were in the hall, we would do a walking on the lines, on any line that is drawn on the floor of the hall. So the lines that are drawn on the floor are our trails for Pac-Man and for the ghost, etc. And you can only walk. So there will be one or two or more Pac-Mans who try to tag the balls, and then there are also ghosts. The ghosts are trying to chase the Pac-Mans around the lines. Everyone is walking. You with me, guys?
Yes.
I'm sorry?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I can see only a few of you because I have the screen in front of me, but because I thought I heard someone saying something, so I didn't know if you could hear me. So one thing, senses development. I made the example of visual, but also hearing training, so activities that help maintaining the hearing senses, etc. Anything like this would work wonders. And then the Pac-Man is, again, a game that stimulates the walking and is fun. Then after a certain round, when there are, you can use different rules, but you can change. So some is the ghost, and other becomes Pac-Man, etc. How do we do it in the hall? Last year when I did it, we simply did, we used the flags. You know, you put the flags around your waist. There are different colors. So if you had a red flag, you wear the Pac-Man. If you had the green flag, you wear the ghost. And then each one would move on the lines, just walking, following the lines. This is also very good for something else. Trying to imagine the game, a part of the walking, what could be useful also this game? What could work? What could a person work with the walking on the lines all around the hall? Is there anything else that we develop? Like, I don't know.
Coordination.
You know. I'm sorry?
Coordination.
Definitely coordination. Why coordination?
Because you have to balance on the lines.
Well, if you have to balance on the line, then you work on balance, which is the other answer too. The coordination is mostly because you have to coordinate what you see with your eyes, so the line, and then your movement. But yeah, it's correct. I mean, they are interrelated because, so also coordination and balance. Balance is another very important thing in elderly that you have to work with, because muscularly they are worse, the bone mass is worse. So balance is something that they lose really a lot, even healthy elderly. Why is balance so important? Like in elderly, one of the most common problems is the frailty. So the bones are more easily broken, and falls are very common because of lack of balance. If you have less bone density, you may break your bones easier than before. And then if you break your bone, you are forced to stay, for instance, at home for a certain period. So that reduces your activities even more. So avoiding the falls and avoiding the risk of fractures is essential for everybody, right? But for elderly even more, because that would have a cascade of consequences. So balance, another very important thing. And then there are a series of other things that I wanted to do with you. And they refer also to different aspects. For instance, in this case, the Back on Time. It's a game of understanding the time, or trying to memorize and understand how the time flows. And I explain it better. The game 3, Back on Time, so there would be teams, and there would be some, if we were in the hall, you would have, each team would have been given a paper with a location. For instance, if you can see the screen, you have team 1, parking lot, team 2, track and field ring, team 3, football pitch, etc. And basically each team would have a time to go there and come back. So for instance, each team would start walking from the hall towards the parking lot, or from the hall towards the track and field ring, or from the hall towards the football pitch, and would have 6 minutes to go there and come back. And then we would assess who got back in a closer time, in as close as 6 minutes as you could. You follow me? So I start the timer, you walk, and you have to be back after 6 minutes. So some teams will come back at 5:50, other teams will come back at 6:10, etc. So the team that comes closer to the 6 minutes is the winner. Obviously, if you were asking that, you cannot have any watch, any phone, anything that can suggest you the time when you do the activity. And this is also, again, something that works on brain capacity. So how they process the time and understand the time and try to memorize a pace and maintain that pace during a path when they are walking. This activity, we do it a lot also with kids. because it's called time-space orientation development. You know why it's very important to have a time-space orientation well developed in daily living? What do you think you use time-space orientation for? Time-space orientation means understanding the space around you as the time flows. So do you think you are using the time-space orientation in some particular occasion and it can be important? Guys?
Stress management.
I'm sorry?
Stress management.
Explain it a bit more, please. This is a new answer. Never heard this answer. There are always new answers.
Yeah, it's like when I have several tasks to do, I have to be aware how much time I need for each task.
Okay.
Otherwise, I won't finish them all at the correct time.
And okay, I understand that in terms of time orientation. In terms of space orientation, like time management, you have to manage your time properly. But space management at the same time?
Maybe when I have tasks at university to do, I need maybe 10 minutes to go by bike to university.
Okay, that's closer. Yeah, so you think how much time you would need to cover that space. If you have a proper time-space orientation, you'll come in time. If not, I will put an absent to your name because you are late, or you may come too early and then you have to wait for half an hour. The instructor, especially if he's Italian, because Italians like to come late all the time. Yeah, that's an example, and that's related to stress management. Imagine that you are late because you didn't calculate well, then you are stressed because you may get an absence. Surely you're very stressed about that. Another thing that we use it a lot is anyone else have anything else in mind on the daily basis how you use the space-time management? No?
Maybe if you go for a walk outside.
How do you use it?
Like if I go to just in a city or a place that I don't know, I need to know where I am to get back to where I came from.
Yeah, pretty much. Do you all drive, I suppose, bicycle or car or anything? Space-time orientation is essential. You are driving your car or you are on a bicycle, you are approaching a crossroad, you see cars coming from the two sides, and you have to know when to start braking. And that's precisely a calculation of time-space orientation. If you start braking too late, you get into the cars and the cars crash into you. If you start braking earlier, it's still fine because you're safe. But what you are doing in that moment is processing the time together with the space. How much space do I have left to the crossroad? How fast are the cars driving? How much time am I supposed to take to reach the crossroad? So let's start braking. For elderly, it's essential to maintain this, especially if we want them to be active. They go out for a walk. They have to process all the time this information. Like I have to cross the road. How much time do I take? Who's coming from one side? And since they are, anyways, you are slower. You have to maintain this ability very well in order to calculate all this stuff. So that's very important. And so there are obviously different tasks with different times. So I put a sort of 6 for 2 minutes. The 4 minutes would be obviously places that are closer to the Halle. So if you see Halle to the bus stop, to Halle 40, which is behind the corner, and the team 3 would be to the swimming pool grandstand and back. Why do I put closer and closer? Because I don't want them to run fast. They can run if they can, but they don't need to run fast. They need to walk or briskly or to jog, and that's enough. So that's why the distances get more or less using our time-space ability. We process that those distances are enough for to be reached by a walk. Obviously, in this case, I made an example that would be fun for you. You are not elderly, so I put it a bit farther. But knowing your group, you can decide the distances that they cover. If you see below this part, exercise 10 squats, exercise 10 abs, etc. That's not necessary, but if you have a good group of elderly that like to work out anyways or like to be active, you can put always a challenge. Like the two teams out of three that come later or too early, so the distance between the time expected and the time they come is the worst, they have to do some exercise. So in this case, it's 10 squats, obviously squats, no jumping squat, but just flexing their knees, squatting and then up, squatting and then up, 10 abs and 10 push-ups standing. So they, you know the standing push-ups, right? Put your hand on a wall while you are standing and you do the push-up. It's a bit easier. The level of the push-up or the level at which you do the exercises, that depends pretty much on how good or how active are the persons you work with. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yes.
In my case, I put it because it would be fun. It would be more fun for you guys to have some challenge like this, but you don't always have to put this sort of challenges. Other games, boiling potato. The boiling potato is a well-known game. Do you all know the boiling potato, right? Everybody does. We can do different groups, small groups. We form circles, so each group is in a circle. Then we have a tennis ball, and then a music starts or a time starts, and then you have to pass the ball to each other in different ways. And when the music stops, there is a person who has the ball in their hands. He or she got the potato, and in many cases you have some extra exercise that those persons have to do. Are you familiar with that?
Yes.
Yes.
Bowling potato is an activity that precisely I was mentioning before is important for the joints of the hands, because it's the grabbing activity. You know, you throw a tennis ball and you have to grab the tennis ball without the tennis ball falling. You guys see only the screen, or you see also me? Because I'm doing all these type of gestures, but I don't know if you even see me.
No, we can see it.
You can see me, you say it? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So the grabbing ball. You grab the ball, you have to use your fingers, and for elderly, losing or having stiffer fingers is very common, but it's important to maintain the grabbing functionality. With the grabbing, you do a lot of stuff. You grab a fork for eating, you grab a glass for drinking, you grab anything that you even grab the stick if you need to do for a Nordic walk or this stuff. So the grabbing is very important to work on. With a game, for instance, this is a game that it can be easily done. I don't know if I have any. I'm moving it because I want you to think about it. What can we do? If you understood the activity, I guess it's pretty easy, right? You are in a circle, you are throwing the ball to each other until a certain point. The instructor says stop. The one who has the ball is the loser and has to do some extra activity, or you can do it without this sort of punishment. But one way to make it more engaging for the elderly is the way I thought about it. Groups of four. Groups of four, imagine that we do a single group of 25. How many times do you grab the ball if you are 25 people passing each other one ball? Just once, twice if you are lucky. That's not working really for them. So you rather have smaller groups, so each elderly is more engaged. You get the ball more times, and so you get to do this activity of grabbing many times. What other things we can do to have it more engaging, or to work on the grabbing? Like still using the boiling potato activity, but what kind of modifications we can do to this activity that you have in mind right now to increase the grabbing?
You could use another ball, like not specifically a tennis ball, but a ball you can easily like squish together. So you maybe strengthen also your underarm muscles.
Okay.
Or you put more balls into the game, so you get more involvements as well with different kinds of balls. for example, so they jump off differently?
Yeah, precisely. Or you may have the ball bouncing or not, but precisely one of the things that is very commonly done is using different balls, like changing the ball every now and then. So you do the grabbing with a tennis ball that is tougher and smaller. You can do the grabbing with a bigger and softer, like a soft ball, for instance, a foam ball. So they experience different types of grabbing, and they work out their grabs and also the muscles around it in different ways. So one, definitely different balls or different ways to throw the ball, different distance. You can have groups of 4, but they can be very close, they can be very far. So you also work out a bit of strength in the tossing. Any other modification that we can do? A simple one is just that you remember them that they have to do the game, for instance, with different switching the hands every time. Like you can do it with, because if you don't tell them, most commonly, like everybody of us, if they don't tell me grab the ball with the left hand, I will never grab the ball with the left hand. I will always try to grab the ball with my right hand because it's my dominant. I feel more confident. So definitely one thing that you have to remember is to tell them to switch the hand, and then the way you throw it again, it can be, for instance, when you throw the ball, you have to do it from over the head. So you're also working the functionality of the shoulders. Or you have to throw the ball by bouncing it down, or from the chest with both balls. So all different ways to throw the ball and to catch the ball that help keeping the grabbing activity, but also being a bit fun. Because imagine after 10 minutes of boiling potato with the same way, probably someone wants to commit suicide. I would want to commit suicide after 10 minutes. So it's boring. So you put all this stuff, all this different stuff to change the game, but still work the same thing. So far, questions?
No.
This is one that I wanted to do. Really, it would have been really fun, but unfortunately we cannot do it because we are stuck to the online. But I really wanted to do it. That would have been fun, at least for me. Hopefully also for you. Last year it worked very well. Orienteering. Are you familiar with the orienteering activities? You got a map, and then you have to look for places, etc. You know, you have a map. In the map, you have signals like logos or whatever. So you have to get oriented with the map, where you are, where the logo is. You go there, you find the logo. In the logo, there is something, and then that's something, and then you come back and you have to complete all the marks in the map, and then you are the winner. It's orienteering activities. I guess that here is pretty, would be in the outdoors, would be pretty fun to do it. So many forests and this stuff. Are you all familiar with this activity, guys? Wait,
No.
1, 2, 3. No?
Yes.
Someone said no?
No.
No.
But you got, so you are divided in teams. Each team is given a map of where you are. So in our case, I would divide you in teams. You would have a map of the Institute of Sportswissenschaft, detailed map with the where we are, the different halles, the different also floors, the different. You would have a very detailed map. And then in this map, there are, in certain points of the map, there are like sort of marks, X or a check or whatever, or a symbol. You have to get oriented. Where do I have to go by using the map? Start moving in team, go where the symbol is in the map, like physically go there. And in there, I would drop something. For instance, I drop a paper with an activity that you have to do. You read the activity, you complete the activity, and then you go to look for the second mark. And so on until you complete all the marks on the map. When you do all the maps on the map, you are done and you come back. More or less, for those who don't know it. So last year it was challenging because the map that we have, the Institute of Sportswissenschaft, is wait, I'm recording, so I cannot say bad words. It's bad. Schlag. Schlag? Is Schlag bad or Schlag? No? How is it in German? Isn't it Schlag? Schlag? Schlag. Okay. It's terrible. So we couldn't do that. So what I did was every team was in the Halle 7, and I gave to every team a list of places. So there was place 1. This is where you go when you want to get lunch. Where would you go? If you read this hint. Huh?
Mensa.
Mensa. Yeah, some of you would say at the airport or somewhere else, but I intended within the institute. So you go to Mensa, and in Mensa last year, I dropped a hint. I dropped a paper. I stuck a paper to a wall in the Mensa. Wait a minute, sorry. Can't see. Huh?
Is the amount of money
Sorry for a moment, guys.
even?
I don't know. I will ask.
It's including taxes?
I don't know. Maybe, but I will ask. Sorry, guys. I don't know. I will ask. Sorry. Family management. So you go to the canteen. You find a paper. In the paper, there was written 15 chair squats. So you come back to Halle 7 with that paper. Well, not with that paper, because also the other teams have to find it. You go back to the Halle. You do the 15 chair squats, which is simply squats. It's like sitting and standing up on a chair. That's it. 15 times as a team. All in the team do 15 times the squats, and then you go to spot 2. You have this paper on a list. Wait a minute. Let me see if I can find it. So I can open it for you. You have a better idea of that. Let me see. No, this is not exercise lab. This is not right. No, this is another thing. No. Anyways, I can't find it. So you have each team has this paper with all the spots described. You start from the spot 1, where you go for getting lunch. All the team moves to the canteen, checks this paper, 15 chair squats. Come back to the Halle, does the exercise, and then goes to the spot 2 on the paper they have. Spot 2 says where the office of Armando is. How many of you know where the office of Armando is? None of you. Anyways, you won't need it because we won't be there, so it doesn't matter. Anyways, I had this issue last year because I put where you can find me out of class hours, and nobody knew where to find me. It's the second floor next to the door of the secretary. So all the groups would go up there. They would find a paper stuck on my door. The paper would say bird dogs per limb. And so you come back to the hall and you do bird dogs per limb. Still activities. Bird dogs is when you are on 4, and then you are moving the leg behind. I don't know if you understand. Like you are seated on 4, and then with the leg you do this 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you do the other leg. So and so on. So basically, it's an activity in which you have to walk around. You have to get oriented where you are and where to go. You have to come back as a team, complete the activity, and so on until you complete all the spots. Last year was fine. It was nice. Like the teams would disappear from the hall, go looking for the papers all around the institute, and then come back every time they find one, do the activity, and then back again. And it lasts. That's why I put 20-30 minutes because it lasts quite a while. Like it's pretty good for elderly because it includes many things. One is, again, orientation, space orientation. Where do I have to go to find the mark? Or to find the paper. Second, walking. as a team, you all walk around the institute, you change environment a bit, you can even talk and have fun while you're walking. You find the paper, you read the paper, you come back, and when you come back, you have the physical part. The physical part, as you can see, is mostly strengthening arms and legs, which is very good for elderly. You with me, guys? Yes?
Yes.
So there are a lot of stuff, and there is an extra thing here that is very good to work on with games in exercise for elderly, which is social. Like the social relationships are essential. In my experience out of Austria, because here I don't have much experience, a lot of elderly get socially, like it's like COVID all the time for them. Socially, social distance from everybody, because they lose functionality. They are less prone to walk outside, so they don't do any more the activities that they typically did before, etc. For instance, my granny, just to make an example, she used to go playing cards with her friends, but her friends live a bit farther in her perception. It's not far, but in her perception, so she tends to stay home. And obviously you lose a little of sociality as you get older. So having activities in teams that allow you to talk to people, etc., is wonderful also to work this. And so this precisely is one of them, because you are not in a hurry for doing anything. I don't ask the teams to run to get the papers around the institute, but I just ask them to complete the activity. So you can walk around the institute, talk to your teammates, then come back, do the activity all together, and it's pretty fun because of that. Yes? No? Maybe?
Yes.
Last activity, and I think I took already enough time because I wanted to do many other things, but apparently I took too much time for this. The last activity that I had in mind, but we wouldn't do all of them, and I would talk about them anyways, even in the class, because we wouldn't have time, is the ring golf. It's actually I put bonus activity because we wouldn't make it in time anyways. The ring golf is pretty easy. The activity is sorry. Good. Bravo Anna. Babbo arriva, ok? Ciao. Babbo arriva subito. Yeah, Babbo arriva. So my kids, for the first time ever since we are locked down with them, they clean the room apparently. She just said, Auntie Anna cleaned up. Good job, guys. I'm coming soon. Bye-bye. And this is how it works. So, and my wife is just saying this is how it works when mommy goes there and gets angry, because if I get angry, my kids don't do anything. But if my wife gets angry, then the kids clean up everything, and probably I will also help them out if I'm there. Anyways, so the last activity is pretty easy. Like you place in teams again. Each team has a cone and a ring per team. And then you are, sorry, a ring per person. And then you place the cone wherever you want as a team. And then you start throwing the ring, you know, the rounded stuff, you know, that we have that you use sometimes. It's not a ring like this, right? It's the ring, the big ring that we have in the Halle 8. So each one has this ring, and that's just to throw it from the distance, trying to get into the cone. Is that clear?
Yes.
I hate explaining games this way. Well, we should have done it in practice. Wait, let me do. I'll go back to regular. Oh, look, I have different ways to show you. Okay. Stop sharing. Oh, now I can see everybody. So this last game is simply like, again, a summary of all the other games, like, or a summary of what we worked out in other games. For instance, what kind of things are you developing with these games for a healthy elderly? What do you think is important? What do you think you are working on? You know, you place a cone at a certain distance, and then with the ring, you start throwing the ring and try to get into the cone. What kind of physical development you are working on in this case? Any idea, guys? I can see everybody.
The throwing precision.
So the modulation of your strength.
Yeah, and calculating how far away it is.
Yeah, that works for
arm coordination.
I'm sorry?
The eye and arm coordination.
Excellent. So eye-arm coordination, modulation of strength, so the ability to modulate your strength based on the distance of the cone. So you have to modulate how strong you throw the thing. What else? Is there anything else? How do you throw the cone? How do you throw the ring? You're grabbing it. So you have to work also on your, there we go again. Anna, Baba arriba. Good job. Okay. I don't know what she said. Arrivo subito. She speaks Japanese sometimes. And so there is... Vieni qua, però devi fare silenzio, ok? So there is the grabbing also, and the grabbing is, again, because you have to grab the ring and then throw it. And then there is the precision, so the ability to try to, the visual attention, because you have to keep an eye on that. I think that if she was talking instead of me, it would be clearer. So and so you have also the precision, so the visual attention, because you have to focus on an objective and throw it. And the fun part is that it can be a challenge again. So in terms of ow, Annie, ti chiama mamma, go. And the challenge part, you can create a challenge, and for instance, since you are in teams, not necessarily that the persons in the team challenge each other, but for instance, each team plays, everybody in the team has to put the ring into the cone, and the last team doing it, or the first team doing it, decides what the other teams do as a punishment, or the opposite, the last team would do something as a punishment. I don't like the punishment part, but if you want to make it challenging and people don't get offended, because elderly also sometimes get faster offended, so you don't want really to call out anybody because they may be less willing to do activity then. But if you know that those people are pretty open to these things, you can do also challenges. You do extra activity. Extra activity will be the punishment, could be abs, could be functional exercises, could be anything that still works on the main things that we discussed before. Is that clear? Did I bore you enough in this hour? Sorry guys, look, this I was so happy to do this class this year, because we would have a lot of fun with activities and games, and we are stuck on a computer. I hate it. Believe me, I hate it a lot. Next time I will try, if my metering doesn't decide to come the last minute, and considering that the weather is very good, I'll probably put the computer outside and do something myself, or with the kids, so they can get some, they can be of some use. Nice background, Philip. And we do a bit more practice, but unfortunately there is no other way for this, and I at least want you to hear a little of all the activities we wanted to do, the why we do it, the how we can do it. So I elderly remember functionality, senses development, orientation, and a lot of cognitive activities, activities that make them focus, make them think, make them use their brain for memory, for attention, for focus, and always remember to try to make it possibly in teams, so you have the socialization part also developed. If you want to add punishments or not, this is really up to the team, to the people you're working with. Some can do it, others don't like it, so you avoid it. But these are a series of example of games that you can do to maintain the functionality of elderly, so reduce the effect of aging, which you cannot stop, but you can at least reduce. Questions?
I have a general question for the task you want us to do in the teams. You want us to do a 10-minute video of what we should actually do in the program and the lesson. Is that correct?
No, I said it in the beginning. My baby, my kid was shouting in that moment. Like, I don't expect a half an hour video. You want, especially because the half an hour that you were expected to have in the class, you would have people actually doing the exercise, which I don't think is possible. Like, you may have some people in your place, if you live with someone, engaged to show a little of it, but you cannot use all the time. So the planning is for half an hour. So you plan half an hour of activity, but the video itself, like what you show in video, doesn't have to be half an hour. It can be 10 minutes. I mean, if you want to get half an hour because you can fill half an hour, fill half an hour. But I don't expect you to have a video of 30 minutes. So what you have to do is plan your activities on a paper for half an hour. Remember that we have the template that I gave you. The template with where to put the activities is in OLAT. Plan it for half an hour, for 30 minutes, like on paper. But then when you show it on video, obviously you don't have to fill that half an hour. Just explain the exercises. If you can show them a little, and that's it.
So we'll send you the template you gave us, and in addition, we also prove it kind of what our idea is, trying to build it in the video, even though it might be a little difficult. For example, our group had it for like younger ones, and younger ones usually play in groups for like, I don't know, 4 to 7 people. I don't know how many you are, but we are just 4. So it might be
you don't have to necessarily record your own video. You can also use videos that exist if you want.
Ah, gotcha. Okay.
Okay, like you find a video of an activity that you wanted to do, or a small part of an activity. You can actually take and paste videos together to show me different activities that you found that could be useful for what you were expecting to do.
So we could also use some YouTube links and copy paste into the form. Okay,
yes,
that's easy. All right.
So there are 2 things. One is the activities as you plan them, because I want to see them and give you feedback also on how you plan the activity. And that would be what you would have done if the Halle was available, those 30 minutes. And then the video, this is the written part, the plan. In the video, what I want is, if you have videos from YouTube, you can add them, etc., but also to explain a bit more than that. What in the plan, you don't explain why you are doing this, why you are doing an activity. In the plan, you only explain the activity, how much time it takes, what kind of equipment you need, how it will develop the activity. That's it. So you don't explain the whys. And I'm interested in why you chose that activity based on what kind of group you were assigned to. An example is what I just did with you. I showed you the activities on a Word document, but I was explaining you why we are doing that. This is because of balance. This is because of the functionality. This is because, so I don't only want you to show me the activities in the plan, write down the activities in the plan, but the video is to show me something if you can find YouTube videos, or you can record your own video, but mostly for explaining why you chose those activities. Is that clear? Guys?
Yes. Yes.
Pretty much what I did now. I was telling you why I would do each of the activities that I showed you, based on the group we were working with, elderly that are healthy. next time we meet, because now I won't go into the other, it'll take another hour and a half, but we have time. So next time we meet, I will show you activities for adults with diseases. And I will show you what activity I thought about and why we do them. That's exactly what you need to do. Show me on paper the activities that you chose for half an hour, but then on the video, use parts of videos that you find in YouTube or any other source. Use your own videos, but explain me why you chose those activities.
Armando, is it enough when one guy of the group is sending you the video, or do we have to all send you the videos?
One person in the group sending me the video is enough. You don't have to send me 20 times the video. One person from the group sending it, you're good to go. Just remember, both in the paper and in the video, to write down all your names. That's it. Anyways, I have the calendar there with all your names and teams. So if Bernard sent me the video, but you forget to write down the name, I have the calendar. I check who's the team of Bernard, and I know that everybody in the team has done it. Yeah. Since you won't be able to meet, you can manage your group the way you want. You can, for instance, Bernard, Paoli, and Nico are together. Bernard can focus on one part, Nico another, and Paoli another, and then you join the video all together with a video editor, for instance. Or you can work out the way you want, as long as everybody in the team is involved and works towards the video and the paper. Then you figure out the way you manage it the best.
But we can just start after you propose the games for us, right?
You can start after that. If you have an idea,
start right now.
You can start whenever you want, but obviously after you listen to me, probably it will be easier.
Yeah, because we can't use the same games as you propose, so.
You what? Sorry?
We weren't allowed to take the same games you proposed to us, right?
Yeah, you're not allowed, but yeah. Oh, I know what you're going. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's better to start after you propose the practice we were.
You know what? I will upload everything. Like let's say in the next week and a half, I will upload all the activities that I thought for each team. Anna, puoi vedere. Ecco qui. Turtle, nice. Okay, let me finish explaining this. Come on. Okay, so I will give me a week and a half, and I will little by little upload all the activities for each team. Even if then we meet and I explain them, like I did for this one, at least you have the paper already there, so you can read the activities and know more or less where we go, so you can start working on it. Then, when we meet, I'll explain more. Maybe you get more things from that, but at least you have a starting point. What activity I thought about and where they are heading to. Does it sound good?
Yeah.
So I will be little by little upload all of them. I have many of them already done, so I will upload them immediately, but others I'm still preparing them, because every time I have this course I think about new activities just to have a bit more fun, and because also things change, so little by little I will upload all of them, and then you will have them there in Olet. I will, as always, send you one of my super boring and super extended email to let you know about it. Right? Any more questions?
No.
No. All right, then I would close it here, but I would send you another link, and in the next week, we can meet again and talk about the adults with these games for adults with diseases.
There's a question in the chat.
Oh.
I guess.
I have the chat open, and there is.
It was a long time ago, I guess.
Oh, question about the articles. We have to write out to improve the games in the tutorial, but in Article 1 there are no games. What? Okay, that's a good question. Really, there are no games? Or did I upload the wrong one? I will check.
No real game.
I will check. Maybe I downloaded several of them. Maybe I mistakenly upload one of that was wrong. So I will check it, and if I was mistaken, I will upload a new one today, so you have it. I thought there was, I will check it again. Maybe I simply selected the wrong file. So yes, if there is no game, obviously you cannot do it, but it's my mistake, so I will change it in case. Let me just check it again.
All right.
I did the article analysis already. So if we get another article, do I have
No, you're fine. You're good to go. If you uploaded it and you already did it, and every point was done, if you found a way to explain how to improve games that were not there, you're good to go. It's my fault anyways. But if you haven't done it, don't do it. Let me check it first. But this is precisely those things that you don't wait for meetings to tell me. If you have remind, you just send me a message, and in a second I already have it there and I can check it immediately. So if you have any doubt, try to contact me as soon as possible, because might be that even I make mistakes sometimes, not many times. Just kidding, guys. All right. Oh God, the other comes, the other truth. Okay, so if you have, I will check the article. Maria, moment. Shh. If I will check the article today. This is today, and as per the activities, I'll be uploading them. This one and the next two, I will upload them also in the next 2-3 days, and the others little by little will be uploaded. And every time I send you a message for you to know that they are there, so you can check them.
All right.
Sounds good. I am recording this stuff, so I mean, I hope that you will be in the online class every time, but I'm not taking attendance. So I'm recording it, and every time I finish the video here, I'll upload the video there. Obviously, I hope I don't have to talk to myself only. So I hope that there will always be someone. But if you miss someone because of any reason, I have them recorded, and I will be putting the videos in OLED. Maren, who's that? Wants to join the course too? It was better.
Do you want to join the course?
Yeah, that's a bad moment for joining the course,
Yeah.
because it will be all talked, nothing practiced.
Yes, also online course, so he's really attending it.
Oh, that's fun. Well, not fun really, but at least you have it at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay, so guys, before my kid destroys my computer, next time maybe I'll try to lock the door somehow, or lock the kids out. If you happen to have any other questions, just write me or sign up in Remind, and then you can use Remind also on computer. You don't need a phone. And if not, I will send you the link for the next Zoom meeting, and we'll meet on Zoom next week. Okay?
All right. And have a good one.
You too, guys. Have a good week, or have a good, try to have a good, healthy, 24/7 every day. It's beautiful. Vero? Concetto? Okay.
All right.
So say bye.
Grazie mille.
Bye-bye.
Grazie di niente.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye,
Stay safe, stay healthy.